Hey guys, working on my 7.3 again tonight. I am swapping out the air filter. I wasn't sure exactly which filter I had, so I went ahead and ordered the complete Donaldson blue filter kit from RiffRaff. I also wanted to go ahead and do the CCV reroute kit that they sell, just to flip the doghouse around so that it's not pumping oil directly into my intake tubes anymore. Knowing that I was going to be that close, I went ahead and ordered their stainless steel high pressure crossover tube for the oil rails. The concept here is that it balances the pressure between the driver's side and passenger side cylinder heads, the oil channels. It's supposed to just allow any excess pressure to kind of bleed back and forth and smooth out the idle, supposed to make it a little less choppy. Let's be honest, it's a fucking 7.3, right? So I'm not expecting a Cadillac smoothness, but any little bit helps with an engine that's, as rough as a 7.3 is. When I pulled the turbo a couple years ago to do the EBPV delete pedestal, I went ahead and did their fuel pressure regulator housing with the regulated return. I was really happy with how much that smoothed out the idle and kind of quieted down the motor a decent bit. So I figure at this point, go ahead and do the HPx, they call it. It's really simple, just a couple of fittings for each head. It's got your O-ring to seal to the head, and this is going to be a compression fitting on the tube side. Just extremely simple. So you pull a couple of plugs, put in your fittings, and then tighten down your tube, and you're golden. So we're going to get things into position and dive right on in.
Alright, so as you can see, this is the plug here, kind of a brass head on it, I guess, color zinc maybe. I went ahead and cleaned it before I got up here, and I've got some rags kind of tucked in there to catch oil. I haven't actually done this, I don't know how much of a mess it's going to make, but I'm kind of preparing for the worst here. It was not nearly as tight as I would have expected it to be. And I've got the inlet of my turbo kind of blocked off with a latex glove and zip ties. Oh, not yet. There we go. It's not about the length, right, gentlemen? And then always find the most creative places to place an elbow on the sharpest fucking edges under this hood. Every time I'm up here working on something. The other one wasn't super tight. I guess the O-ring does a good job of sealing it up. But I do want to make sure that I'm not shortchanging myself here. So we are good there. Let's go knock out the other side. So on the passenger side, this is your plug here. You can see it's just behind the spider boot going into the intake. And let's see if I can do this without putting my big ass head in your way the whole time. Oh, hey, look. Belt material In about 2.5 years of finding that shit everywhere. This is a 16mm socket I'm using, by the way. I'm sure if you're working on a diesel engine, you can figure out what size sockets you need as you go. And just make sure you got your little O-ring on there. All right, so after a quick dry run, it appears that this is the correct placement. I couldn't really find anything in the instructions or any other discussions on the specific positioning. But anyway, the driver's side is going to have the dual bend. So this little elbow here will go around the front edge of the turbo housing, and it's fairly easy to fish through even with the spider in place. Just kind of set it in, get the first side started. And then go around to the other side. So anytime you're working with dual fittings like this, you want to make sure that you're holding the base fitting, the adapter, if you will, with one wrench while you tighten with another. I did not get the right goddamn size. I'll be right back. Okay, so like I was saying, the collar on the tube appears to be 11/16 and just the right size to not reach very well for any sort of speed. Oh, there we go. I just wasn't putting it in the right spot. I believe that should be enough. I'm gonna check that after I get everything running. Of course, I've got the transmission still sitting on the floor over here, so that's gonna take a little bit before I can actually crank this thing. And for the driver's side, same thing, just get everything good and tight. And that is it. I'm going to finish up the intake install now.
And I will keep a close eye on this once I finally get to crank this thing in a couple of weeks once I finish the transmission.